about Matisyahu is one, how did he get into the Hasidic world, and what was that journey like? And then, of course, on the flip side, what was the journey like coming out of the Hasidic world?
So fast forward to the next summer, I worked at a summer camp in New Hampshire, washing dishes. I went to, what was the big festival the Phish did up in Plattsburgh, was it? Air Force Base?
Clifford Ball?
Yeah, Clifford Ball.
Yeah. He did see Phish 96 for those of you guys keeping track at home.
And we borrowed a Volkswagen bus from this guy from Seattle, Jeremy. He had like a 72. And we drove it there and we crashed it on the way back. It was horrible. And we survived. And I had like in my mind, okay, if like I go home and like everything is just a nightmare with my parents, but that when I had dreadlocks and the whole thing, I said I'm going on Phish tour. And I dropped out of high school after the first day and moved to Burlington and lived in the park and then waited for Phish tour to start and went on Phish tour that fall. That was, I guess that was fall '97, right?
You gotta give some good time with your Fishes.
Yeah. And I did that and I came home and then sometime that winter and I tried to kind of like go back to high school. Didn't work out well. And then I went out to Oregon and I was in like a sort of wilderness rehab treatment center for a year. I lived out there and that's when I started doing music. There was like a coffee shop out there. And I met a guy in town and we started making music together and we started doing this open mic night, which was mainly like cowboys. And we bring in like little beat machines and stuff and we started doing our own, and then they gave us our own night there and then we had a band. So then I started doing music, but even then I wasn't religious, but I remember like drinking mushroom tea and coming out wrapped in an Israeli flag with sage burning from the front, you know, from everybody. And no songs, all freestyle. And eventually I came to a point where I was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna move back to New York and go to school. And I moved back here, I went to the new school right here.
Yeah.
And during that time, I just decided I wanted to, you know, I love music, I love drugs, but I needed to sort of like make that next step. And being who I am, I did that in a drastic way. And decided, okay, I need to become something else. I can't really figure this out on my own. And at that point, I started going to different synagogues around the city. And I ended up in the Callbox shul one night on like, they just a Maariv, like on a Thursday night or something. They had like a 10 o'clock Maariv or something. And I met this cat, Ruben, in the back of the shul. You guys know Ruben? He's not here, is he? I don't know what Ruben's deal is, but me and Ruben, I just like fell in love with this guy. And we basically like ended up talking. I was into, so anyway, I came back to Carbach on a Saturday. That blew my mind. The music, the whole thing. And I started going there every Saturday to the Carbach show. And very quickly I started wearing tzitzis, growing my beard. I met a Chabad rabbi down by NYU, and I wasn't even putting on tefillin, and he was sending me to the hospital to put the tefillin on this Russian kid who had an accident. And there was a kosher bagel shop there. I started, you know, down in the Lower East Side. I started eating there, and I got into the whole thing very quickly.
It's all about the bagels, really.
It's all about the bagels. That bagel store still open with Murray.
Murray's is right next to me, trust me. Yeah. Literally going to Murray's on the weekend is like the soup Nazi experience. So it's pretty awesome.
So then I met Rabbi Korn. You guys know Rabbi Korn. He was at NYU Chabad. At that point, now he's got like a little empire on Bowery. But at that point, he was living at one university place in his apartment. And I met another guy, like, you know, I'd see the Lubavitchers and they were asking people if they're Jewish, and I was always sort of like hoping they would come ask me. And this one guy asked me Sheikh Lulav or something. I ended up talking to him. I went that winter break to like yeshivacation in Seagate. And it was like, literally, it was like a badass trip. It was for 3 days. I literally escaped in the middle of the night and snuck out. out and ran away. And the next day, I was like Sukkot, actually. It was cool. And I was wearing tzitzis, and I was at the new school. I was taking a class called Spiritual Stories with Yitzhak Buxbaum.
Nice.
And there was like an awesome class. I came out of the class. I was doing really good. And I had some friends that were at the Manis, the music school that I came. And I went with Aaron, my guitar player, to Smalls over here.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And I drank too much. And I was walking, and the jazz, I didn't like jazz music, and everyone was smoking cigarettes in there. And like I started to fade, and I tried to go up the stairs to get out, and I collapsed outside, I fainted. And then when I woke up, I was like, I had this feeling like, oh man, like I'm wearing tzitzis and a yarmulke, and I'm like representing something. I have to really like make a change. And the next day I was in Washington Square Park, and Rama Korn was there. Actually, I saw his daughter was like 3 years old, just blonde hair, she was dancing. I was like, what are these Hasidic people? And I went in, and someone was like, it's Rabbi Korn. And I told, he looked at me and he was like, he's like, they called me Butterfly on Deadlock. And drink, and he poured me a glass of vodka like this big, and made me drink it. And like literally, that's where it went from there. And then the next thing I knew, I was married with 3 kids. Basically, I moved into his apartment and slept on the couch for 4 months, and took care of his kids and made him breakfast and stuff in the morning. And we learned Hasidus together, and we went to the mikveh together, and we got drunk together, and I basically needed a friend. And he became my friend for the price of my soul.
It's interesting, you mentioned that the kind of the gateway drug, if you will,